Uh, I'm Dorothy Smith, Dorothy Charlie. I was born in Pellybanks, and Pellybanks is south of between here and Ross River or Watson Lake, and it was a community with lots of people, but when they took us to residential school, everybody scattered. Some of them ended up in Watson Lake, and some in Ross River. And we're living in Ross River, but we're moving back to Pellybanks. I'm Wolf Clan. My mom's name is Mary Charlie. Her mother's name is Marlene Stone, and my dad's name is Joe Charlie. And his dad's name is Cookham Charlie. So I've gone to residential school in Whitehorse for 8 years, and we were never allowed to go home for Christmas or Easter or anything. We got there in the fall and we stayed until about June or July, and then we'd go home for the summer. And we learned a lot of things. We lost our culture, we lost our language, but some of us still could speak our language fluently. But the ones that have gone when they were 5 years old, they really have lost their language and their way of life, the Casca life. I'm a Casca woman. About the Star Sisters. They stayed, they had the parents and then the two sisters. They went to bed, but they were just traveling that time because they made a brush camp, usually a pile of brush in the back, and then some on the sides so that they could be sheltered if some animal walking by. So they put nice, neat brush on the ground for their mattress, and then they put their hide blanket on top, and then they were sleeping there. And they looked up in the stars at night, and they saw a lot of stars. And one of them said, "That red one is mine. It's going to be mine star." And then the other one says, "Oh, I like that blue one." And this story has told by different people and different color stars. So it's not always, the same color. But they were pointing at it and they were talking about it and they fell asleep. And they woke up, both of them were sleeping with men. And the men one had red clothing on, the other one had a blue clothing on. And they woke up and they looked around and it looked natural, like they were in the forest. And they said, "Where are we?" They asked those guys. They said, "You're way up here. This is above the earth." He said, "The earth is down below where you used to live." So they didn't say very much, but their husband would go hunting all the time and they would cut dry meat, and then they got lonely after a while. They got really lonely and for their mom and dad in their own place on earth, and they got lonely. So they said, how can we go back? And they said, well, they said that this place is above the earth, so the earth has to be under us. So why don't we go and dig somewhere? So what they done was they went far away from camp in a very bushy place, and they start digging. They dig. And then when their husband would bring a hide, they cut the dry meat from the moose, and they would cut those clean the hide really good, like clean the hair off and the flesh off, and then they would strip it in small strips like that, make long rope, tough rope, because once that hide dries, it really is hard to break. So they pile it up in the bush. They take it to the bush where they're digging to hide it away. They hid it away from where they were digging so nobody can find it. And they coil it. They coil it, they coil it, they coil it until they think they had enough. And then finally, by the time they thought they had enough coil of that rope, they dug through the earth, through the ground that they were on. And they didn't say anything. They said, next day they went back to the same place and they let the rope down. If it touches anything, they could feel it. So they let the rope down, let it down, down, down. The whole coil was gone, but it was just swinging. They couldn't feel that it's touching anything. So they brought it all back up and they coiled it again. They just left it there. They said, we need more. So they waited days and days more, and they kept doing the same thing, cutting more and more and more until they got more rope. And then they let it down again. And then they said, I think we have enough, because they could feel it touching something. And that young girl, older girl said, you go first. And then when you land, she said, tug on it, pull on it, tug on it, so that I know that you're there. Good. And then I'm going to go. She said, I'll go next. He said, they probably made moose hide mitts, really tough ones, so that they could slide down that rope, that moose hide rope. So she felt that tugging when her sister went. She let it down really slowly until she got the tugging, and then she knew her sister got down to earth. And so she went down next. She landed right on a tree, big tree, right on top they landed. And I think they cut the rope or something. I don't know what they done. I think they pulled it.
They pulled it down.
Yeah, they pulled it down, so those guys don't know where it went, or, they must have covered the hole too. As they went down, they pulled the rope down, and then they sit on the tree. Right on the trail, they see trail coming under the tree and going out the other way, really well-worn trail. And they start seeing all the different people going under. They were people them days, the animal people. First, it was Martin, I think, and they whistle. And that Martin look around, he look up, he see those girls, but he keep on walking. The one that's coming behind, they keep saying that. All kinds of animals go by. The one that's coming behind me, they keep saying one after another until this last one coming, and they whistle. He'd stand there, he'd look really crazy. He'd say, Tree, is that you? Is that you, Tree? He said, bark. And they whistle again, and he said, Tree, it can't be you. He said, he looked up, he see those girls. Oh, you want me to come get you? He said, if I get you, you got to be my wife. They tell him, okay. So they get that young one first down, and then the older one. And then once they're down, they say, now, if you want to be our husband, you have to go out and hunt and get moose meat and stuff, and show us that you're a good hunter first before we could become your wife, they tell him. So he's got big pack sack. He just go. Not very long after he come back, all he had in his pack was just a bunch of moss. They look at it. It's not food. You have to go and kill a moose, he said. Where am I going to go to get a moose? He tell him, wait, we'll show you, we'll tell you. Just go. So he dumped the moss out and then he started walking. He said, right here. No, further. And he walked some more. Right here. No, further yet. He kept saying that until they couldn't hear him no more. So they run behind those people on that trail. They ran really fast before that guy come back. And they come to this big river, and that really swift river, and there was just a sniper sitting on this side. He said, they tell him, how do those people go across this river? He said, oh, I just stretch my leg across and they walk on it. But one side, my knee really hurt. I can only use one. And they tell him, it's okay if you just use one, we're not that heavy. So they said, you could take us across. So he said, okay. And then they give him, they had a nice fancy garter, and they took that off and give it to him. And he put it on his leg, that sore leg. And then he after they got across, or before they start going across, they tell him, there's going to be crazy men coming behind us. We don't want him. He say, you'd stretch your leg, only one leg across for him. And when you get to the middle, just pull your leg back, he says, so we fall into the river. He said, okay. He sat down, and those girls were on the other side. And that Wolverine man come. He says, sniper, how come you got my wife's garter around your leg? He said, they pay me for stretching my leg across. They walk across, they pay me with that. He said, well, stretch your legs across. I want to get back. I want to get over to them too, he said. Okay, he said, but I can't do one side, just one side only. This side is really sore. I can't do it on this side, he said. So, okay, he go across and on one leg. Halfway across, that sniper pulled his leg back. He fell into the river. He said, he get mad at Sniper. Sniper, you skinny leg. And everything like that. And then he washed over the falls. That was the end of Wolverine Man. And those girls must have went home, to their mom and dad. End of story.
Kula.
Kula.
Masicho.